Okay, good morning. It's February 15th, 2021 today. Welcome everyone. We're so grateful that you are here today. Um, yes, let's go ahead and get started with a quick accountability check-in on action steps from last week, and then we'll go from there. I'm like, not gonna spoil the surprise, but one thing at a time. So, and I'll start because we only have one person on the call at the moment, but I didn't really tell you guys what my action step was going to be this last week, but um, and I normally don't share my accountability just because there's so many other people on the call that need that space. But um, after I got off the call, I just really focused on, I listened to my heart, and my heart was telling me, hey, you need to focus on gratitude this week. And I said, okay, which was not at all related to what we talked about on our call last week, but that's the beauty of listening to our hearts, right? And it was such a beautiful week of studying about gratitude, learning about gratitude, practicing gratitude, exercising it. And I really gained a lot of beautiful and deep insights around gratitude. I'm still learning. Obviously, it was just 7 days, but yeah, it was really beautiful kind of a week. I noticed myself as I was going into um, just more, I guess, I don't know, natural negative thought patterns and things. Like I would catch myself a lot quicker and actually be able to shift it back into a more powerful space because of practicing gratitude. So it's just a really beautiful thing to practice this week. Anna, if you would like to go ahead and share, that would be great.
That's great about your gratitude and that you were able to catch yourself. My action step said, find ways to be connected. And I did actually talk to more people on the phone this week than I ever do. So, and I felt good after I talked to people on the phone. So I think I did need connection with people. And yeah, that was my accountability there.
Cool, so good. That's right, because we talked about like I remember why, like my brain is going back to last week's call, right? And it's like, oh yeah, I remember how that came about, but I can't think of all the details right now in this moment. I'm like, yeah, because I think we were talking about, right, resilience and um having like a support system, right?
Yeah.
In our lives.
Yeah.
So neat. Okay, cool. How difficult was it for you, to do that work, to reach out? Because sometimes that's really uncomfortable and sometimes that's not very uncomfortable.
Um, it wasn't really all that hard. Some people I would just text, some people I would Marco Polo, some people, if they needed to talk, they would actually just call me back instead of texting me back. And
Yeah.
so I don't know. I think it's good for everybody because everybody right now is kind of feeling that isolated need to talk, but we all just don't know how right now. So
Yeah. Like,
you're frozen. Am I frozen to you? Is it
no.
me or you?
Mm, think it's me. Can you hear me now? Hello?
There you are.
Okay. I was like, I don't know what's going on. It's so frustrating with the internet. Um, okay, cool. No, that's so good that it sounds like it just felt like a natural thing for you to do this week and it wasn't super difficult for you.
You are frozen again for something. Dang it.
Yes, dang it.
Your internet, like bars when you freeze, they go away. And now they're starting to come back up. It's weird.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll keep this shorter just because not everybody's on the call and my internet's being weird. So there's that. So my intention for our call today was to honestly just to create some space for us to listen to our hearts, um, listen to any kind of a message that needs to come up and out, anything that needs to be expressed, stories that may need to be shared, but really coming from a space of deep listening with our hearts and our intuition and just that spiritual side of life. um, So that is my intention, and it's really beautiful because I just kept hearing the words like create space, create space. Okay, we'll do that. Um, so I have no idea where this is going to go. Um, I was reminded of First Nephi chapter 4, verse 6, where he talks about, and I was led by the Spirit, not knowing beforehand the things which I should do. So um, we'll just we will just sit and listen and like I can walk us through a guided process um to help to help us get connected into our hearts and to start listening, but that's going to be our exercise for today, so it may not be super long, but we can create as much space as we choose to. So did I phrase it all? Did you hear all that?
Yeah, I heard it all.
Okay, awesome. Do you have any questions about what we're doing?
No.
Okay, sounds good. Um, all right, so let's go ahead and um, actually, before we get started with a meditation, let's go ahead and just share a quick, like, positive win of something that happened this last week. Doesn't have to do with accountability or action steps at all, but let's just share a quick win, something that happened within the last 7 days for each one of us.
Do you want me to start or do
Sure,
you
go
want to
ahead.
start?
Go ahead. I don't have anything yet, so go ahead.
For school, I had to teach a Zoom class. Well, I had to teach my friend over Zoom about marriage rituals. And it was so fun. That was one of my ways I connected with someone. And it was just so fun to just sit there and talk to someone face to face, even though it was over the computer.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I've just really missed talking face to face with my friends and hanging out with them. Because I think Marco Polo is different than the live chat like we're having now.
Agreed.
Anyway,
Agreed.
it was just really fun. That was a win for me.
That is super cool. That's cool. Where did you pull the ritual thing from a book or anything like that?
Yes. Our assigned reading was Take Your Marriage Back.
Oh,
Can't remember the author,
familiar,
but it's
but
called Take Your Marriage Back.
cool. Very cool. I just recently read, so I studied marriage and families in college, and so there was a book on my bookshelf from my college reading days that I haven't read in a long time. So I pulled it out, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago, and I read the whole thing from front to cover. And it really was about like family rituals and routines and things that create connection. So I was like, oh, I wonder if it was that book, but I'm sure there's lots of books that talk about that.
Yeah.
That's neat. So neat. Are you the kind of person that learns by teaching, or meaning like that's more of like a kinesthetic kind of a learning style? Or are you more of like an auditory or a visual learner?
I'm more of an auditory and visual learner.
Cool.
Auditory more than visual, but the two together just really connect it all for me. When I'm teaching, I find stuff just starts coming out that I'm like, oh wow, it's like the Holy Ghost takes over and the Spirit takes over. And
Is it this book?
Take Back Your Marriage. Let me look. My cover looks different, but it might be
By William Doherty.
I'm pretty sure that could be it.
Because I was like, people don't talk about rituals in marriage except for William Doherty, but I haven't read this book, but I read another book by him which does talk about rituals in families.
Let's see. Yeah, William Doherty.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. That's what I was like, that book sounds familiar. I haven't ever read it, but we haven't. My husband said that for me.
It's pretty good. It's my assigned reading.
Very cool. Very cool. I'm sure that's a good book. He's a really well-known, renowned researcher in the marriage world. I mean,
Oh.
the world.
Did you like going into marriage and family? You say you did that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. Helps me to make sense of a lot of things, but when it came to, I think, like, I don't know, more career focused reality, like, it just hasn't super panned out because, I mean, unless you're going to become like a marriage and family therapist or counselor or something like that, there's not a ton of positions, after studying something.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, no, that's super cool. The reason I think I'm talking to you about this is because I'm just curious. At some point in the future, I think that would be a really cool thing if you were interested to, like, we could create a space where you share what you did learn from that in my Facebook group, so we could create some more resources for people, do a training or something like that for people that are interested in improving their marriages.
Oh. Cool.
Yeah, that'd be neat. Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let me think about, I still haven't come up with like anything from this last week, but I don't know. I feel like I actually started and finished a book in its entirety this last week. So that's a big accomplishment in my world because I'm assuming, like a lot of us, usually my pile of books, it's
Yeah.
large that I'm always reading. And so I'm like, yes, I focused and I read one and it just felt really good.
What book was it? Must have been good.
It's called The Intuition-Led Business.
Okay.
Yeah, it was good, but it wasn't super earth-shattering, but one of the concepts in there was fascinating, and I'm still chewing on it and still, I guess, digesting it, right? Like, I don't know what I think about that. But she talks about when you're developing your intuition, you need to create space in a daily place for you to practice listening to your intuition, and then also on a weekly basis, and then also on a yearly basis. And so every day, she calls it the rule of 8. And so every day, create a space where you're for 8 minutes. So this could be like meditation or prayer or something, right? Where you're like connecting to the other side or to the spiritual divine sources of things. And I'm like, okay, I can, like, that's fine. That's a part of my routine, no big deal. And then this is the part that really challenged me was, she said every week, you need to be in like a space that inspires you for 8 hours. And I was like, 8 hours?
Whoa.
Like a full day of work kind of time frame. And I'm like,
Uh-huh.
oh. But anyway, so after I reacted to that, I was like, okay, time out. Let's break this down and try to understand where she's coming from. And I can see it from both her side and my side, meaning, like, think about it. If you really could carve out 8 hours each week to be in a space where you're just like totally in flow and like totally inspired, whether that's you in nature or, for people like you and I, like when the temples open back up again to like spend some serious time in the temple weekly, like that like totally magnifies your intuition. And I was like, okay, I can see that, but that's a lot of time.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then every year she says to schedule out 8 days where you just don't do anything, where you like clear your whole entire schedule. And I'm like, okay, I could see that one too, but that still feels a little excessive. Like, okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
so oh, that was cool. So I'm gonna work on building up to that.
Nice. Well, that's awesome that you read a book. I think that is a big accomplishment.
Hey, I know. It just really like built up to like, okay, what's my next book that I'm gonna like start and finish? See how quickly I can get through another book.
Do you like read books, or do you listen to them, or how do you read?
Yeah, I do both. I like I think my natural style is more to read books, because I'm a kinesthetic learner, and so if I can like be marking the pages, or moving while I'm reading it, that really does tend to help me. I've noticed, like, I was talking to somebody the other day, I don't remember who it was, but um, they didn't know that they were a kinesthetic learner, but it was so cute because she was like, "Yeah, when I read books, like, I notice that I, like, whisper to myself as I'm reading the books," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's a kinesthetic thing to do," because I do the same thing, like, when I'm reading a book out loud and it hasn't sunk in, I have to go back and, like, whisper it to me, and then all of a sudden I'm like, "Oh, that makes sense." Like, um, but if I do like audiobooks, I really do. I haven't been listening to audiobooks recently, just I think I've been focused on physical books. But if I am doing audiobooks as a kinesthetic learner, I do have to be moving. So I have to like be doing housework or driving or something like that for it to really be sinking in.
That's like me. Maybe I am a little kinesthetic. I have to be moving, doing dishes, doing laundry while I'm listening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know audiobooks are so great. I guess I haven't been focused on like audiobooks specifically and more um like podcasts when I'm listening to audible things.
Oh yeah.
And I can only have so much of that, where I'm like,
Yeah,
I only have like 2 or 3 podcasts that I can keep track of before I'm like, "Okay, I'm overwhelmed."
for sure. I've
Awesome.
noticed that too.
That's funny. So funny. Cool. Okay, well, that was fun. It's fun. I don't get to
Oh,
talk about those things very often. And actually before we get started, I'm gonna pull up I don't know, what are they called? Daily meditations or something from my Jesus Calling book. So let's flip to, oh, look at that. Already on the page. That makes sense. So I'm flipping open to the day that is assigned to March 23rd. So I have no idea what this says. So let's just read this. It says, I am a God of both intricate detail and overflowing abundance. When you entrust the details of your life to me, you are surprised by how thoroughly I answer your petitions. I take pleasure in hearing your prayers, so feel free to bring me all your requests. The more you pray, the more answers you can receive. Best of all, your faith is strengthened as you see how precisely I respond to your specific prayers. Because I am infinite in all my ways, you need not fear that I will run out of resources. Abundance is at the very heart of who I am. Come to me in joyful expectation of receiving all you need, and sometimes much more. I delight in showering blessings on my beloved children. Come to me with open hands and heart, ready to receive all I have for you. Cool. Okay. Well, on that note, it's beautiful just to be reminded of God's power to answer our prayers, right, and our petitions, and that abundance is a part of it is who He is. And as we grow closer to Him, our abundance increases in all ways, not just in a financial kind of a way, but abundance in love and connection, right? Because that's what you experience,
Uh-huh.
and abundance in all the good things, all the good things, happiness and joy and sunshine and rain and snow and all the things, right? Because like
Huh.
abundance is just that there's more than enough for everybody. And that is true if we can see things clearly. So um, let's go ahead and get ourselves into a space of opening and listening as well as receiving. So let's go ahead and just notice your body language. If you notice your shoulders are hunched forward at all, then go ahead and just roll them back. Like always, such a simple exercise to just open up your heart. And imagine there's just a string right connected into your heart chest space, and it's just kind of pulling you up and out. And just notice how your heart feels, whether physically or emotionally, even spiritually. Or you could notice if there was a change in the level of energy in your heart space as you just simply moved your shoulders back and opened up your heart. And let's just tap in for just a moment into the give and receive cycle. That doesn't mean you have to know where things come from. But just notice that there is a space of trust in this give and receive cycle. As you give to others, as you are open to receiving, the good things just flow in and out of your life. And maybe it's easier for you to focus on the breath or the give and the receive cycle. Breath is such a powerful reminder of so many lessons in our body. Or maybe you need to, or it feels best for you to focus in on your relationship with God and prayer and open communication with Him. And maybe it looks like your petitions are reaching Him and His responsiveness to your petition or petitions, many petitions that we make of Him. But anyway, any way that you need to look at this give and receive cycle is perfect. You could look at it through all three of those angles, could be something totally different. But this is one of those things that even if we're not consciously aware that we are connected into give and receive, we always are. It's always an effect in our lives. And the magical thing with this give and receive cycle is that if you desire to receive more goodness, we know how to influence that equation by giving more goodness into the world. It will activate you receiving more goodness into the world. Or if you want more financial prosperity, and put out more financial prosperity into the world in terms of value. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a deep breath. And let's go ahead and bring our awareness into just a calm stillness. Let's let everything just kind of settle down. Just relax. Just let your muscles relax. Let's let everything inside of you just let go, knowing that you are fully enough, fully capable in this moment. And let's work on creating a space of just deep listening to the wisdom, to the intelligence, to the intuition that lies inside of you. And this is a space of total 100% safety. So any emotions that show up, just let them show up. Any stories or thoughts or feelings that need to show up, just let them show up. Just be with your intelligence system, just be with your heart. Just notice. Are you noticing any heavy or dark feelings? Are you noticing any light and easy to digest kind of feelings, happiness and connection? And either way, as you just get settled in, oh yeah, clearing things. Sorry about that yawn. As we're just getting settled in, I want you to just simply bring to mind a question. Maybe this is a question that you've wanted to ask somebody or something for a really long time, but you haven't had the courage to do so. Or maybe it's a question that you just feel like you need some clarity around for something that's happening in your world. It could sound like a simple question of, hmm, what's the number one thing that I need to understand right now? Let's just settle in and just listen. So we're going to create space for a few moments to just listen. And if you feel like you are getting distracted, losing your attention or focus, just bring your awareness back to your breath or to your heart space. and get curious about a question you want to ask. If you feel like you need some more time to just ponder and be silent and still, that's perfect and beautiful. But I also want to open it up if your heart is asking you to share anything, or if anything comes to mind, big or little. This is, like I said, this is a safe space, and we'll see where we're led today in our pondering and in our conversation. So I'll open it up, but also honor the fact that we may still need some more silent, still time. So
That was very nice.
beautiful, beautiful. Um, my my thoughts as I was just pondering was just simply I was just asking some questions about some they weren't huge questions, they were just things about today, and things that I need that are on my mind, um, as I'm navigating the day. And I was supposed to leave town today to go down to southern Utah, and I've been getting information that there's a huge storm coming. And so I made the decision last night to postpone my departure for a couple of days just to stay more safe. And I was asking, like, is that the right decision? And I definitely felt a peaceful feeling, which I didn't specifically like sit with that yesterday. That was more of a cerebral kind of a decision. But today it's like, yeah, absolutely. That was the right choice. So that was good. And I also checked in on some other tasks and things that I have wanted to accomplish today, and it felt really peaceful. But yeah, I was realizing just how often we don't do this in our world today, right? We don't just sit and listen, even to ourselves or other people very often. So, I mean, even for me, it's like that was such a powerful process. So,
Yeah. We don't take time to be still very often.
No.
That's what you're saying. I was thinking, well, I was kind of all over the place with my thinking. My son can't smell anything. And so I was, muscle testing. I use that a lot in my family to figure out what's wrong with us. And it doesn't uh, lead me astray very often.
Right.
But I just keep asking and I keep getting that it's something with his sinuses.
Hmm.
We even got him, I got him an antibody test to see if maybe it was coronavirus because, he's had sinus issues before, but he's never lost his smell, and it's said he hadn't had it. And I keep getting that it's in his sinuses, and so he's on an antibiotic for a sinus infection. It is taking the swelling down, I can tell, but he still can't smell anything.
Hmm.
But I just keep being led back to his sinuses. So I was thinking about that, and I was thinking back to the connection of the week, and it came in unexpected ways. Like my friend's dog had puppies, and she invited us over to come see them. And that was like such a roundabout way of needing connection because it wasn't even just connection with people, it was with animals, like with nature. And so I don't know. I was just thinking about all that about the week.
Cool. I had some conversations with some people in my church yesterday, and a couple of them are new. We have a lot of new people in our ward all the time. And so I was getting to know some of these new people, and um, it was fascinating. So as you talk about the dog and the connection and things, like I was on the phone with this one lady who's um, middle-aged, and she had just moved here like maybe a month ago, so she really doesn't know anybody still. And she's very vibrant and like upbeat kind of a person, which is so fun. But she was like, um, just so you know, I have this dog that I need to not get rid of, but she's like, I need to find him a new home because it's just not working for me. I'm not home to take care of him, and he's pooping and peeing all over the place, and it's just not good for him and it's not good for me. So I need help finding another place. And in my mind, I'm like, I don't know what to help you with. But I connected her into 3 different places. Like, we have a Facebook page for all the women in our area. So I said, "You can come join that and post it in there. You can also post it in, some local classified areas where there's the Humane Society that you can talk to." She's like, "Okay." So I didn't think anything of it and hopped on Facebook last night, like 11:30, and she had already come and joined the group, which you have to get approval for it, and she had already posted a picture of a cute puppy, and somebody had already said, I totally want that because I want your dog because I've been looking for an emotional support animal. This would be perfect." So that, like, today, Monday, they're gonna work on exchanging this dog from the one lady to the other, and I'm like,
Oh,
"So cool." But again,
yeah.
that's what connection does, when you can connect with people and people can express, "This is where I'm at, this is what I need help with," and then you have the resources figured out already, and then they take action. Like, that's what faith looks like, and it was really beautiful. And then my second story is, another new person that moved into our area. I haven't met her in person yet, but we did a fun get to know you, like, game night. It was just through Zoom, but we had maybe 10 women show up a couple of weeks ago, and she came, and I was like, "Oh, we don't know you." So she told us about herself. She had moved in maybe a month and a half ago or something, 2 months ago, and so we're getting to know her along with the other women on the thing. And she was super cute, super fun. And then she was also on our meeting yesterday for church meetings. And so, like, minimal connection, but she was so cute because she left me a Valentine's present at my door yesterday, just a cute little box of heart candies, right? With a note. And so she texted me and she's like, "Hey, I just left you a little treat." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that was so sweet. Thank you." And just, we just connected again, like what you were saying from this week. And but then another person in our ward popped into my mind and I said, "Would you mind reaching out to this other person?" I think because I knew that she needed some friends. That's all she's needed is the whole time she's been here. And I just felt like these 2 would be really compatible in terms of the friend department, and so she's like, "I actually was thinking about her today, and I was gonna reach out to her on our meeting for church, but I didn't, so I think that's just really neat that you asked me to do that," and she's like, "You're so inspired," and I'm like, "No," I mean, it just felt right. It wasn't like this cosmic 2 by 4 hit me. I was just like, "Hey, will you do this? Like, I think that'd be good." But anyway, it was just a really beautiful moment to see like these divine connections, and to recognize like what I just read in Jesus Calling, right? That like that he does listen to the prayers and that he does answer them. And I just happen lately to be able to see the evidences of all these really cool things like being orchestrated on so many levels. And I'm like, that's really cool.
It is.
So those are my stories in response to what you had mentioned, coming from my heart space.
Nice. Where do you live anyway?
I just live on 4th North in Logan, like right
Oh, okay.
next to Care.
Yeah, I could see how you'd have a lot of in and outs right there.
Lots, lots, lots and lots. Yep, every week, new people. It's super fun.
Yeah.
And then
Cool.
some people are only here for like, a month and a half, and we're like, okay, hi, bye.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Cool. I don't have any other thoughts for you about the sinus thing. And it's not because I don't need to have the answers for you, but sometimes I have inspiration flow to me, but I think the only thing I would tell you in response to what you said was just keep listening, right? Just keep trusting and keep listening
Yeah.
and asking, I guess, what are the questions that you feel like you're asking?
Um, in regards to that, well, I just go through and I test like, is this coronavirus? Is this bacterial or viral? I just ask all these questions. Is your smell gonna come back? Yes. Doesn't know when, but it's gonna come back. And so it's just working on faith, like it will come back and it'll all be okay. Just, we don't know what that looks like, but it'll
Yeah.
come back.
Okay. Um, so I don't remember where I taught this, but recently, I don't remember if this was on our call last week or if it was in another space. So if I'm repeating this, forgive me, but we all need to hear things multiple times, right? So it'll be a good reminder if you've already heard this. But um, so in the spiritual dimension, I mean you'll understand this, but we have access to what my mentor calls the infinite. So it's very similar to the internet. And so when a computer, well, time out. A computer has multiple levels to it, right? There's like the desktop and the stuff that we can see, we have access to. That's very similar to our conscious mind. And the mouse, we like point around and click on things and stuff like that. And then there's the whole entire operating system that like dictates what even happens on the computer. And we don't see that. Like that's in the hard drive, that's beyond our visual seeing field, right? So that's very similar to like the subconscious. And then we have access to the internet where you can go to this beautiful resource and you can type in a question and say, "Hey, why is the sky blue?" And you're gonna get tons of articles and tons of things, tons of videos and pictures and all sorts of resources, right, to answer this one question. And in our spiritual space, in our conscious mind, our subconscious mind, we sometimes quasi understand those things, but the internet, like what happens inside of us is is a space that's called the infinite. Like each one of us has access to this ongoing base of answers. And so, but just like in a Google search, like if you type in why is the sky blue, but you were really wanting to know like why isn't the sky red, then you should change the question that you ask.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why I'm bringing this up because I just keep wondering if you need to expand the search, like expand the questions that you're asking, and ask things more like, do we need to go see another doctor? Do we need to consult with more medical professionals? Um, is there something we need to understand about, emotions or mindset or spiritual things? Who else has answers to this problem? Like those are very different questions than just, is it coronavirus? Is this smell going to come back? Although those are really good questions to ask. But let's work on expanding out to a different level of question.
Yeah, I like that.
Because it's amazing. Um, I mean, you know this, like you type into Google, where's the best place to vacation? I mean,
Lots
that's
of answers.
right. It depends on so many factors. But then if you change in one word to that question, you say, I guess 2 words, what's the best place to vacation in Hawaii? It's a
Yeah.
different answer, right? Um, or I don't know, like it's amazing how different results you're going to get by just plugging in one word, right? So, and the same goes with this spiritual asking and getting connected into the infinite supply of answers.
Yeah.
So beautiful. Yes.
You have to be really specific when you're well, I call it your inner physician. You have to be really specific when you're asking the inner physician or
Absolutely.
the infinite.
Yes, exactly. And so, I mean, back to what I read from Jesus Calling, right? Like the answers will come.
Yeah.
Ask specific questions. And and God is a God of abundance, right? So he's not just going to tell you one thing, he's going to lead you and guide you to multiple things that need to be taken care of or thought about or handled, um, in order to solve this problem.
Yeah.
Well, good. But I think the big question is, and I'm not suggesting that you're not open to receiving, but the give and receive cycle that we briefly meditated on, the receiving is such a huge component to that whole cycle. Um, like most of us are really good with the giving and we give all the time, but we have a lot of negative patterning and training around receiving, like even answers.
Yeah.
So if you don't feel like you're receiving answers, even if you're getting really clear and specific on the questions that you're asking, then maybe you, Anna, specifically need to work on increasing your ability to receive in a more positive light.
Yeah. I've thought about that this week too.
Mm.
I'm like, I think the problem is me. I've got to work out that,
Mm.
with the receiving. And I can tell when I'm not in a space to
Yeah.
get answers, and I need to probably not ask when I'm in that space.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, well, let's, I thought we were gonna just kind of be done earlier, but it's 7 o'clock, so let's
Time
go.
flies when you're having fun. Yes.
Agreed. I'm like, I could sit and chat with people all day, but because I love it. I just love connecting with people. But let's go ahead and wrap up our time together and let's get grounded in like and we didn't really like talk about content today, which sometimes is the most beautiful thing to do. But let's go ahead and just get grounded again in our heart spaces and ask ourselves, like, what is that number one action step for you this week to be able to move your life just a teeny little bit forward? What would you love to practice this week to help improve your ability to maybe receive or to listen or whatever's coming up for you? Just go ahead and check in and just listen. And it may just be another 30 or 60 seconds of just being still and listening to find that answer. But as soon as you find it, go ahead and share it.
I think for me, I've got to work on, um, I want to say the word release.
Hmm.
Like you take in so much stuff, but you don't let it go.
Okay.
And so I need to work on some way to release things so it doesn't weigh me down so much, if that makes sense. And I guess I'll find out what that is this week.
Hey,
So
so good. Yes. You know me. I love analogies. They just make sense across the board for most people that I talk to. Um, and when we're talking about what you're talking about, like I can't help but think of, as we consume food, our bodies are literally built, we chew, our whole entire digestive system is built to break the physical substance down into liquid so that we can get all the minerals and good nutrition out of it so our bodies can have energy and get stronger and all that good stuff, right? But then all the stuff that we don't need from that, I mean, our bodies are literally built to let go, you know, to release. And so, first of all, and I'm not going to ask about your digestive habits on this call. You have another space where we talk about that, but maybe check in just on a physical level, like how well you feel like you're doing with releasing, and this is bowel movement territory kind of a thing. Um,
mhm.
is that semi-normal? Is that not semi-normal? Literally focusing on getting your physical regularity back on track helps with the emotional releasing as well. So that could be one aspect of things. I mean, simply that can mean like getting more magnesium in or eating more fibery vegetables and things to get things moving quicker or drinking more water. So check in on all those things to see how well you're doing in those territories. Because 1 to 2 times a day is actually pretty normal. And if you're not doing that, then you need to work on getting there.
Whoa, 1 to 2 times a day, huh?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
All righty.
Yes. Um, so there's that for you. And then on an emotional, and I'm assuming that you're talking emotionally, right? Because there's a lot that does come at
Yeah.
people like us, especially when we're sensitive and we pick up things around us all the time. Um, there's a lot of ways that work for me to help me to release. And I know that you, Anna, have learned a lot of beautiful things along the ways as well. But for me, water is really, really helpful to just feel like I can just actually just get washed clean of all the stuff. So this is a double duty for me. I love soaking my feet in magnesium, but like literally just getting my body in the water really helps A to get the magnesium in, B to like get that water flowing through me. And it's not all over my body, it's just my feet, but like there's something so powerful about that for me. So that could be a
Yeah.
powerful thing for you. Or taking baths or showers, right? And so I don't know if water does it for you either, but you could also just have a journal practice where you just open up a Google Doc before you go to bed and just like dump your thoughts. And it doesn't have to be like a write and burn or anything. It's just getting everything up and out. So it's kind of like you going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
So um, anyway, those are a couple of thoughts that came through me.
Awesome. I never thought about that. Emotional constipation could lead to physical constipation. That is something I have never, ever, ever thought about.
I think about it all the time because I see it all the time.
I bet you do.
All the time. Yes. And I wonder actually if by you working on clearing that out of you would actually help your son. I wonder if there's
Mm.
that's just kind of congesting his sinuses that he's not even aware of, that you're not even aware of. So by you working on clearing yourself out, maybe that would create space for him to do the same.
Oh, maybe so.
Maybe. I don't know.
Oh, cool. Well,
Cool.
thanks for the call.
You're welcome. You're so welcome. Thank you for coming and joining. This has been a boring conversation with just myself. So
Yeah.
awesome. Okay. We hope you have a wonderful day. If you have fun plans with your kids, or I don't know what you guys are doing, but I hope it's a great and lovely day with yourself, with your family, with God, with whoever.
You too, Jackie. I hope you have a good day.
Sienna.
See ya.
Bye.